Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin. I'll give you guys an update on that broadening wedge that we've been looking at because we have had a breakout there. I'll also show you why the bottom could be in for Bitcoin based on some Fibonacci analysis. Now, before we get started, guys, if you are enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to get notifications because I am releasing these videos every day, Monday through Friday. All right, so Bitcoin daily time frame. We are seeing the market start to bounce a little bit here today, although the market has come off a little bit here in the last hour because of some news out of Ukraine. At least it seems like that's the case about their websites, their government websites being down from a DDoS attack. So right now though, the market still is bouncing from this support area, and as I've said recently, the market is in a position to make a higher low. The question now is, can we get confirmation, aka a move back above 39,600? So Bitcoin has to reclaim this level that it lost last week. Okay, so I want to start here because I don't want people getting mixed messages from this video. Even though things are starting to look a little bit more constructive, I don't want to come out sounding like the bottom is in and everything is a-okay, because that's not the case. The market has a lot of work to do, the technicals have a lot of work to do, and the fundamental side, we obviously know there's still a lot of fear out there in the market. Okay, so right now the market is starting to bounce a little bit. We have seen a breakout from that broadening wedge, which I'll talk about in a moment, but we do need confirmation, aka a daily close above 39,600, to really kick things off and open up some higher levels like 42,000 and potentially $46,000. Now I want to go ahead and jump into the 1 hour time frame and talk about that descending broadening wedge, which we've been looking at now for the last couple of days. Okay, so you can see that down here we have an intersection of a bunch of support areas. Okay, a bunch of support levels down here. And the market did kind of break below it a little bit intraday, but then it recovered. And since that time, we've now seen today a breakout to the upside of that descending broadening wedge that we've talked about. So typically when you get a strong move lower like this, and then a descending broadening wedge like this here on the hourly time frame, this does tend to be a bottoming pattern. Okay, but as I've said recently, we needed confirmation from buyers. The first step of this has been accomplished. Okay, we did get that breakout from the top of this wedge pattern. Now, the second one, as I just mentioned, is going to be a daily close above 39,600. That's the level that we need to see Bitcoin get back above, at least on a daily closing basis, preferably a weekly closing basis, in order to really open up those higher levels. And I do think that if Bitcoin can do that, that's the technical catalyst for not only a move back toward, let's say 42 and 46, but potentially all the way up toward that $50,000 region, because I think a reclaim of this area up here just below $40,000, okay, on the higher time frames would indicate that all of this down here was a false break. And we can see that from the weekly time frame. So over the past 14 months, Bitcoin, as we know, has been moving within this channel, okay, this sideways movement here. And recently we did get a close below 39.6, as I mentioned, and you can see how this area between really 40 and 42 has been a key factor for Bitcoin over the past 14 months. Now, last week closed below 39,600. So we need to see the daily and weekly charts get back above this area to indicate that this down here is a false break. If we were to get a false break like that to a big level like 39,600, that is likely, as I said, the catalyst, the technical catalyst for a move much higher. So as of right now, guys, the jury is still out on that. We still need to see Bitcoin reclaim that area. But first step here, okay, the first step in a two-step process right now has been completed with that close. Now we do need to see Bitcoin hold this area as new support if it does test this area. So let me show you the area that I'm looking at right now. So on the 4 hour time frame, if we drill down here, you can see that there is a horizontal level through here as well. So this region right through 38,200 or so, maybe 38,300, this also intersects with the top of this broadening wedge. Okay, so this creates a confluence of support for Bitcoin to where if we were to see a retest of this area down here, we need to see this hold. We do not want to see Bitcoin close the 4 hour chart back down here. If it were to do that, then this up here is a false break, and we could very well see another run at support down here somewhere around $36,000. Okay, so this is going to be the must hold area just above $38,000 on at least a 4 hour closing basis. Okay, so we want to see that hold as support. Now, let me show you guys why I think there is a good chance that the bottom is in here. And it has to do with a simple Fibonacci analysis. Now, at first glance, this might seem like nothing, but if you understand how Fibonacci's work, you'll understand why this could be significant. Okay, so first of all, guys, I want to tell you that on the daily time frame, these are levels that I've had on my chart now for really months, especially these up here. Okay, so all of these levels up here that you see, I've had on my chart for the last several months, and they have not been touched. They are the exact same as they were in late 2021. Okay, now if we take the recent pullback here from BTC, so looking at the 4-hour time frame, if you draw your Fibonacci tool from this high up here down to this recent low, okay, so what we're assuming is that this low down here that was just put in yesterday, just above $36,000, is the low, okay? So this low down here, we're assuming that this is going to hold. Now watch what happens. You can already see that the 382 fib and also the 618 fib line up right with those key price action levels that I've had on the chart. Now, if we zoom out here to the daily chart, you'll see that the 1618 fib and also the 2618 fib, and immediately you'll see that both of these line up right with those key price action levels I've had on my chart for the last few months. Okay, so what does this mean? Again, we're assuming that the low is in. Now, we don't know that yet until we see Bitcoin reclaim 39,600 and really take out this high up here around 46. Okay, 46,000. In order to know that this is a higher low down here, we need to see the market make a higher high, which means take out $46,000. So we're obviously well away from that, but right now we're just being speculative and we're assuming that the low is in. And when we do that, these extensions up here line up with key price action levels, which does give us a bit of confidence that the low could be in. The reason for that is if you were to draw this recent low anywhere else, so let's say Bitcoin comes down here and tests this area right around $35,000. You'll notice that these levels no longer line up right with those areas, okay? So if you were to have this low anywhere else other than where it is right now, those extensions don't line up with those key price action levels up here around 53,000 and also that $66,000 area. Okay, now again, this is all very speculative, guys, but I have used techniques like this in the past to identify major tops and bottoms. For those of you who have followed me from Forex a few years ago, you'll remember the one on the pound yen, which ended up being a multi-year top for the market. And this is the exact same technique that I used to identify that. All right, so it was a little more complex then, but this also shows you that there is a chance, a good chance, that the bottom is in for BTC. Now, obviously, this relies on the market staying above, okay, this area down here that we just looked at on the 4-hour time frame. So just above this $38,000 area. And then, of course, we don't want to see the market take out this low down here and move back down here into this area. Because if it were to do that, then it would kind of negate everything I just said, because we would then have a lower low in the market. All right, so we'll see how this shakes out today, guys. As I said, there's still a lot of fear out there. This does not mean that we are out of the woods. This is by no means me saying that Bitcoin is guaranteed to have bottomed and it's going back toward $50,000 or $60,000. That's not what I'm about. This is about taking it one day at a time, one step at a time. We have that first step, which was the breakout from this wedge pattern. We now need to see buyers reclaim 39,600. That, in my opinion, is really the linchpin for a move back toward 42, up toward 46, and potentially back toward $50,000. Now, the alternative to all of this, okay, let's talk about the bearish scenario real quick before I finish up with a pattern that I want to show you to end this video. So if we were to see Bitcoin close back below 38,000, okay, and this becomes a false break up here, we see the market move back down here into this area. All right, key support for the market is going to remain this area between really $35,000 and $36,000. So this area down here is going to be key support for Bitcoin. We need to see the market stay above this area on a daily closing basis to remain constructive. You can see back here, even though the wick was at 33, Bitcoin never did close below 35,000. This was also a confluence of support for the market. So if we were to see Bitcoin take out this area between 35 and 36, so close below this area, then we are looking at potentially a move back down here toward $30,000, which, as we all know, is the 14-month range for Bitcoin. Now, I've kind of maintained that I don't think that's likely simply because all of retail is waiting for 30,000 Bitcoin, and a lot of them are even waiting for 20,000 Bitcoin, which I don't think comes, but I could be wrong. So let me finish up with one last thing that I want to show you guys. So if this is the bottom, so if we get a higher low here and Bitcoin is able to hold above 38,000, and especially this area down here around 36. Okay, if this right here is a higher low compared to the one at $33,000, what I would be looking for is something like this. Okay, so off of this low from 33, if we draw the bottom of an ascending channel off of that low up here to the recent highs, okay, I would look for something like this over the coming weeks. And again, this assumes that Bitcoin has bottomed. There is no confirmation of that yet. We have step 1, we need step 2, which is a close above 39.6. Okay, so if you do this and just assume that we have the beginnings of a potential ascending channel here, then what I would look for would be a move up here into this 50 to 53 area sometime in March. Okay, so if this down here is a higher low compared to the one at 33, then this could very well play out, okay, where we get that extended move up above $46,000 up toward 50 to 53 sometime in March. Now, of course, that's all very speculative as of now because there is a lot of work to do for buyers to confirm that that is even likely. Okay, so at this point, I'm not saying that this is likely just because we haven't really seen the market take out some key resistance levels like that, $39,000 to $40,000 area. But what's interesting about this is the top of this channel would also line up with that first extension that we just looked at, okay, which lines up with a key level that I've had on my chart now for several weeks. Okay, so the 1618 extension up here lines up right with the top of this potential ascending channel. Okay, so this is all just stuff to keep an eye on, guys, but it all hinges right now on Bitcoin staying above 38,000 and especially staying above this area down here between $35,000 and $36,000. All right, guys, I hope the video helped. If it did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click that bell icon, leave your comment below, and I will talk to you again soon.